What a piece of this. Yeah, yeah, yes. What a piece of this. Hey, we need a little piece of food to go my showers. I got a few days to pay, it makes matters worse. The partner will me through the bank around the purse. January 3rd, my turn. It's the last one. Give me where we come from. Stop beat around the bush. And I see me frustrated and me use and them feel enough. And it don't stay like how we look. So last man, give me where we come from. Stop beat around the bush. You know see me frustrated and me use and them feel enough. You know stay like how we look. Say me not stretch my hands out in a hand down. Me not come here fit out. You know see say this a shout and me use them in foot to them out. Too much hungry they need to kill them out. And me tell you be serious. I want the right amount. You boss man, give me boss man. When you get my cross one, stop treating you like a fan. And who you want to have man? Man, I'm a kind of who you bought from. So boss man, give me where me come from. Stop beats around the bush. You know see me frustrated and the youths are dead for you enough. And you don't stay like how we look. So boss man, give me where me come from. Stop beats around the bush. You know see me frustrated and the youths are dead for you enough. And you don't stay like how we look. You really so them treat me and they make it wrong. No, to we pocket so them style we are smoke. More time they feel wasted, but still keep it conscious. They don't teach up, John know me now rough. And I resist me a band up with a red eye things. But I one thing me know, so we full suffering. Stick and tired and they get the struggling. Say it's hard, but yet we still working. Boss man, give me where me come from. Stop beats around the bush. You know see me frustrated and the youths are dead for young enough. And you know still like how we look. So boss man, give me where we come from. Stop beats around the bush. You know see me frustrated and the youths are dead for young enough. You know still like how we look. 2 weeks in a bed no pay and a fortnight. The boss never signed the check. Supervisor say he never come in time. When me reach home, me and me woman in a boss man. Give me where me come from. Stop beating around the bush. You know see me frustrated and the youths are dead for young enough. And you know stay like how we look. So boss man, give me where me come from. Stop beating around the bush. You know see me frustrated and the youths are dead for young enough. You know stay like how we look. Give me where me come from. Beat around the bush. See me frustrated. If we don't come, we don't stay like how we look. Boss man, give me where we come from. Stop beating around the bush. Hey, bank statement in the building. What's good? What you fan? Happy New Year's to you, bro. What's the word, man? Asiatic soldier in the building. What's good with you, bro? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Yes, sir, fam. We just in here kicking back, man, enjoying the new year, man, celebrating little gratitude, celebrating with a little gratitude, man. The little things that we do have, man. Shalom, shalom, indeed. Peace and blessings in every language in the world. Yeah, man. What's good, y'all? What's the latest, man? What's the latest, man? We just gonna do a little open Q&A here tonight, man. Nothing really extravagant. Nothing, over the top. We did have a couple of people asking some questions throughout the week, so we gonna try to address some of that stuff, man. Huh. Always on my back, she's trying to shoot to that. They got the general, I'm not shoot for that. I run barefoot without the shoes and socks. She keep herself clean, and I don't catch no cash. And she love me for real, but I feel have no cash. I'll tell a little thing, and it must be she's catch. I always feeling it's like you forgot. Use cheddar as a bait, and never do that. So you do some couple speech, I'm not in the chat. And a strong Bob Marley and some super cat. I will seem like she live upside the Yuka shop. I should don't have a scratches, only you to stop. And the one you to stop is the one you to stop. 192515212 or crap, you see me? What's the latest, y'all? What's the word, man? What we been into, man? Y'all let me know, man. What we been into lately, man? What's the latest, man? Little video y'all see playing in the background there, man, was just me getting some yard work done after Jack Frost, thawed us out a little bit. Jack Frost took a break around here. I swear I haven't seen the weather like this in my entire life, bro. In my entire life, I've never seen nothing like this, bro. Where 1 minute you got deep freezing temperatures, and damn near the next day it's like spring outside. Literally 50 degrees and better after we just had sub-zero temperatures the day before, 2 days before. I don't know what y'all believe in, man, but them people talking about the end times definitely they got a strong argument right now. Yeah, we just gonna open this thing up, man. We're not doing nothing too fancy. Asiatic Soldier said, "What's your thoughts on the American Bulldog? I've been digging them. I love all dogs, B. Right? I'm a big fan of all dogs, man. I just came from my man crib, and he started this bully thing. He got a bully and a Yorkshire Terrier. I'm over there, I'm fucking with him, talking about this is real dog man shit. But at the end of the day, man, taking care of dogs, man, is his own. It's his own world, man. It's his own universe. So when it comes to the American Bulldog, I don't know exactly what goes into them. If I'm not mistaken, they do have American Pit Bull Terrier in their makeup, and I forget what kind of bulldog that they brought that with. So, I've seen them, do some good work. I've seen them do some good work. If you're looking for a good farm animal, good, I don't know how they do with protection. You know what I mean, in terms of guarding and protecting, livestock or the farm or the homestead. So I don't know a whole lot about them in that regard. But from what I've seen, that's their function. That's their role. They're supposed to be like, good farm animals, man. I don't know how they are with, dog on dog aggression. I don't know how they are with, just in terms of their staying power. You understand? Like, will a dog really stay in there when there's a job to be done? Um, but other than that, they look decent. They usually give a lot of people that are high on the bullies but want a little bit more drive. The American Bulldog is one way to go for them. Okay, brother Bill Norris in the building said hi, brother, late again, but happy. It's happy dog life. No. This is all pre-recorded. What you see up there, Bill, is pre-recorded. But yeah, happy New Year, man. Glad you could join us, man. You're not late at all, man. One of the reasons why I record these videos and these videos of me doing this yard work is really more for my edification, so I can go back and review these things and see if there was anything that I missed while I was actually in the midst of doing the yard work, right? It always helps to be able to step back and take a sort of bird's eye view or third party view of what's going on your yard and your work process, the whole 9 yards. I critique everything, every part of it. So yeah, it's hard for me to talk and really get my work done. Bill Norris, appreciate the love with the super sticker. Appreciate the love, brother. Right, for a little snack, right? He said a little snack. That's what's up, bro. That is much love, man. Much love. But yeah, man, it's I'm very funny about my yard, right? I have a very muddy yard. So even when the dog's stool is firm, there's still, it makes it a little bit difficult to get it all up like you want to. And I don't like to see any residue anywhere. I'm just funny that way. I'll take a whole clump of dirt out if I see the smallest bit of residue of feces in that dirt. You know what I mean? Like, I'll just take the whole clump out and toss it. That's just me. I'm real particular that way. Dapper Trapper's Loft in the building. Say yo, happy New Year. Absolutely, fam. Happy New Year to you. Peace and blessings, peace and blessings. That's what I'm talking about. The fam in the building, man. Loving it, loving it. Absolutely, man. So, me doing everyday yard work, I don't think there's anything to post there. I really don't. People don't, most people don't even like to see dog poop, right? In the video when dudes is doing the yard tour videos. More or less, me standing around cleaning up poop. You know what I mean? Like, who really? My brother said he hung over, but he in here. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's the love, man. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, man. So that's just a me thing, man. That literally, when I'm out there, man, the smallest little thing is cause for me to, like, it needs my immediate attention. Um, the yard is very, very muddy, and I even did a small segment video, man, where I was displaying all of that because I'm really open to suggestions, and if I can pull that video, I'm gonna actually show y'all where it's really, really muddy out there, man. It's ridiculous, man. But like, there's got to be more ways to dry that thing out, man. It's got to be more ways to dry that thing out. And not to get too far off subject, Asiatic Soldier, you asked about my thoughts on the American Bulldog. I don't know if I satisfactorily answered your question, bro. But as I mentioned, I'm not as familiar with them. I do know that they have American Pit Bull Terrier in their makeup. I don't know what type of bulldog they were crossed with to create the American Bulldog. And I've predominantly seen them as catch dogs and farm, um, homestead guardian type dogs. You know what I mean? Dogs that can literally guard the farm. So I hope that answers your question, brother. I didn't want to leave you hanging on that. Definitely appreciate the question. Tonight we just doing an open Q&A, y'all. It's Happy New Year, man. Whatever your thoughts are, what are your plans going forward? What would you like to see in your program? What's new? You know what I mean? What are you keeping from last year? What are you tossing from last year? Let's talk about it, y'all. Asiatic Soldier said, "Yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about." Glad we get that clarified for you, bro. Um, do you have any information on the American Bulldog? What is it about them that you like, bro? What's got you digging them, and how do you see yourself going forward with that breed? Dapper Trapper's Law said, if your yard is muddy, put some crusher run gravel down. Raise the chain spot up, make some drains. Solid, bro. Solid, solid, solid. That really, I had definitely thought about some gravel. I've been taking the extra straw and just putting it down in the spots that's extra muddy. But I was definitely thinking about the gravel thing. Um, and but that was really more just for certain areas so I could walk around like I wanted to. Calling Gray in the building. Yo, Happy New Year. That's what I'm talking about. Happy New Year, fam. Welcome on in. Come on in. The water's just fine. The water's just fine. Asiatic Soldier say he likes the Johnson Bulldog line a lot. Now, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Ain't that what your boy over there on uh your master boy over there, man? Ain't that what he runs? The Johnson Bulldog line? Or is that supposed what he's supposed to be running? I'm not sure how y'all said I'm looking for a personal Asiatic Soldier said I'm looking for a personal family protector in a dog. Um it sounds like from what I understand about the American Bulldog, um it sounds like that's a good look for you. Um the cam dogs is definitely like they all day. You just got to be careful with your cam dogs and their animal aggression. You know what I mean? They definitely but when you talk about a natural protective and guarding instinct, for whatever reasons, the Camelot dogs, man, they come with that. Like, it's hardwired. It's in their DNA. Even Solo, who I consider the least aggressive of my cam dogs, is very on guard. Human beings approaching, especially if they're approaching with another dog,
he will definitely give voice and take up a guarding posture. Colin Gray asks, do you prefer a dog that bites and shake, or a dog that bites, holds, and pull back? Ooh, it depends on what kind of work you asking the dog to do. I'm gonna be honest about that. All right, and I'm gonna be completely honest. Um, if the dog is doing catch work, then obviously the bite and the hold with the pullback is what you want. If that dog is engaged in one-on-one combat, then you want that dog to shake something loose. So depending upon what you're sending that dog to do, and when I say one-on-one combat, I mean like with another type of you know you don't want your dog trying to shake, right, a 200-pound hog. Shaking a 40, 50-pound coyote is a different story. Even a 70, 80-pound coyote, right? Or 90-pound wolf, right? All of that is cool for a dog to try to shake. You don't want to try to shake on a hog, right? On a hog, you want it to grab, hold, and just maintain that hold till you get there. Um, Now, if it grabs hold of the ear and shaking like that, that's one thing. But trying to go into the haunches and trying to go into the stifle and all of that and shake on a hog is not a good idea for a dog. Just not. Bill said, I agree with Dapper. Sand alone sometimes is enough to break up clay and allow the water to seep away. See, I'm really kind of trying to do a couple of things at once, right? I want to make sure that their area, right, is kind of drained so it's not as muddy, right? They're not tracking as much mud in their barrel houses, so forth and so on. And then I also want to create pathways in my yard that I can walk around so that I don't necessarily have to, be in their chain spots to get to the areas on the yard I want to get to. Those areas I want to actually put gravel down on. Like for my areas that I want to do the walkway with, I want to use gravel for that. But for their actual chain spots, I have to, some decent drains couldn't hurt. Some decent drains couldn't hurt. Asiatic said, I seen a couple of his dogs that I like. I believe Johnson or hybrid he has. Yeah, I mean, I've heard about the Johnson Bulldogs, and I've heard about the American Bulldog, and if I'm not mistaken, they are closely related. There's some subtle differences that I'm not familiar with. I mean, I don't really keep up with the line like that. But I do understand they've been shown to be pretty good homesteaders, man, pretty good protection animals. Asiatic say, yes, sir, bro. I'm either looking at American Bulldog or Camelot dogs, the Belgian Malinois, even though good guard dog just seems too skinny for me. The bull breeds to me are better suited for if things get ugly. I heard you, bro. That's absolutely facts. That's absolute facts. Um, I will say this, man. Um, like with any breed, any line, any bloodline, who you get your dogs from, where you get your dogs from, is gonna make all the difference in the world. When a breed gets popular and a line gets popular, people have a tendency to really just, they got two dogs, they're gonna slap them together. So anytime you're dealing with hybrids and stuff like that, you want to be conscious of getting the best quality that you can get. You know what I mean? Because a lot of those hybrids, man, you don't want to grab just anything. Colin Gray asks, blocky heads or grain heads? What do you feel better suited holistically? I'm not sure I know what you mean, Colin, when you say blocky heads or grain heads.
Love and hate can never be friends. Oh no, oh
Yeah, if
no.
you would, just shed some light on what you mean, as far as blocky heads or grain heads. All right, Dapper Trapper's Loft said Johnson Bulldogs are really big, sometimes sloppy. The Scott type American Bulldog has higher drive and a lot cleaner. I really don't know too many folks that run the line. I've just run across it here and there online. Uh, but I will say that a lot of times I find myself skeptical. And that's just because I know how sometimes, you know, sometimes how these breeders work. You understand what I'm saying? Um, it's not often that they put the best up for sale. And when you start talking hybrids and things like that, you have to be careful of what genetic or what medical predispositions may kick in from both lines. You know what I mean? From both breeds, right? So with the bulldog, if they have problems with breathing, so forth and so on, you want to make sure you're getting your bulldog from a breeder, man, that understands, that's to be bred out. You know what I mean? Like, I just see too many these bulldog cross breeds, man, dying in the heat, and they can't breathe and all that kind of stuff, man. So I just say be careful, bro. Be careful. I don't trust the modern day bulldog breed, right? The way the bulldog was bred back in the days, pretty sturdy animal, extremely sturdy animal. Uh, what they have out here today, I just couldn't answer to. I couldn't answer to. I have no idea what that's about myself. So, Asiatic Soldier, let me ask you something, bro. What do you think about setting up a live debate between me and Master of All Bulldogs? And at this point, I don't care whose channel we do it on, but the man has literally named Imperial Flame Kennels as a scammer. And so I, for one, would definitely like to know what the hell I scammed somebody out of and where that money went, because I ain't seen it. But yeah, bro, tell me what you think about that, man. If you would, reach out to the dude, man. And let's get it all out and put it on the Yeah, if you would, man, I really mean that. Asiatic, I want you to reach out to Master of all Bulldogs, and let him know his platform or mine. We can set up a live debate, and I would like to any allegations of me scamming somebody or whatever the case may be. I'd like to address those live and direct. So yeah, reach out to the brother, man, and see if we can't set that up, man. That would be stellar, man. I like my name clean. I don't like people running around here talking about I'm scamming something. And I mean, please show me when, where, how, who. All right, moving right along. My brother Colin Gray, he said he was referring to the blocky heads. Okay, and the grain skinny. Okay, so when you say which do I prefer holistically, or which do I think is better holistically? I thought you was talking about some type of feed. You know what I mean? But I don't have a problem with either one. Um, I like to see good proportion on a dog. So I don't like to see a dog with a big ass head and a little skinny body. And I don't like to see a dog with a big body and a little skinny ass head. Um, and that's just because the better proportion the dog is, the better chances it's able to perform whatever function that you lay out for the dog. Uh, for my personal preference, what I like to look at, I like some dome on my dogs. I like some dome on my dogs. I don't want it, I don't need it to be ridiculous. You understand? I don't need the dog to have the head the size of a basketball, but I want the dog that when it opens its mouth, it looks like a motherfucker get lost in there. You know what I mean? So for me, yeah, I like a little dome. I guess you would say I like the blocky head. If you had to really argue, the two types of dogs we're talking about would typically be considered your UKC type pit bull, which is your more blocky, square type of dog, versus your ADBA style, what I like to call box dog, right? And they're not blocky at all. They're more streamlined, more greyhound looking, right? Hound looking. Um, and in the world of the American Pit Bull Terrier, it is so, so, so critical for people to understand that the UKC type of pit bull, which is more of uh, uh, a blocky or more bulldog type, and that's what I would do. I would divide them between bulldogs and hounds, right? So your ADBA dogs are more likely to, come off like your hounds. Your UKC dogs are going to be more built more like your bulldog, and I like that kind of powerful bulldog build, right? That I like that powerful build on the dog. Um, I like a little bone on the dog. I like to know that the dog can get rugged, right? Like I'd like to know that the dog can really get rugged. So these are all the things that I take into consideration what my particular preference is. The skinnier dogs, the hound type, they worry me. Even dogs like Kitana, um, and my boy Red, Ghostface dog. They worry me. They concern me because let's say they were to get into it with a can dog, right? With one of my can dogs, both Raina, Bull, and Solo pack a serious crunch. The thinner bone dogs may not be able to stand up to that crunch. You know what I mean? And that's so I look for a little bit of ruggedness, and that's what I prefer. I like that blocky, kind of bulldogish. I like a good almost not so much muscular, but a good stocky dog. I like a good stocky dog, man. Asiatic Soldier said, "Word, bro. Would like to see that." So yeah, man. Let me ask y'all, man, if y'all would really like to see a Fire Pit live chat, um, a debate between myself and the Master of all Bulldogs, y'all can decide the subject of debate. Or man, I chiefly want to address this. Me being called a scammer. I'm dying to find somebody out of scammed. I need to know where that money went, honestly. But if y'all would really like to see that, man, go ahead, put a crown and a fire emoji in the chat. Put a crown and a fire emoji in the chat if y'all want to see that live debate between Imperial Flame Kennels, Ray Imperial, student of the game, lifelong keeper of the flame, and answer all let's say contentions from your boy Master of all Bulldogs. And I'm not gonna disrespect nobody's name here today by doing that usual appellation I give him. We're gonna call him by his name because we really want this set up. So I'm willing to do this debate on his channel. We can do it on my channel. I don't care where it happens. We can do it on Instagram. We could choose a neutral channel, right? Somebody else want to host a debate. We can do it there. But we gonna get right down to the bottom of what you say I'm scamming people about, which is basically the origin and authenticity of the Camelot bloodline, right? And we gonna get into all of that. All right, Asiatic said, Master of all Bulldogs, I think be running game, bro. LOL, he not dumb, but he just be playing dumb in my opinion. I agree though, shouldn't come to disrespect another brother or any slander. Yeah, I just don't, I mean, if you call me a scammer, it's like a court of law, baby. If you call me a scammer, you got to prove it. You know what I mean? You got to prove it. You got to come with the goods now. Got to keep it 100 official. My brother iRock in the building. What it do, OG? Got a freezer full of meat and organs, 150 pounds and 75 pounds of bones. Just waiting on you so I can take over AZ. Wow, man. Listen, man. I think y'all better get familiar, man. I rock with the 4.99 and two-piece of the biscuit, right? Love it, bro. Appreciate you. Definitely appreciate you. That's all love, fam. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Your takeover's coming soon, bro. Um, to that effect, let me say this also, y'all. And again, definitely appreciate the love, brother. Um, Happy New Year to you also, I rock. The funny thing, man, about this is that there are so many different directions, right? That you could literally, like, now we got the 3 cam dogs, you got your 2 OFRN dogs, and then you got your Hollingsworth Jip. So there's a lot of different directions that we can go ahead and take the program. But as opposed to just doing things willy-nilly because you got 2 dogs, the idea is to put the dogs together in a fashion, man, that is consistent with your vision for what you're trying to achieve, right? So we were trying to achieve some working stock that's going to be good in the field against anything in the field. Let's put it that way, right? Anything in the field, this dog should be able to stand its ground, uh, and hold down, hold you down. So even though we have multiple dogs on the yard, that does not preclude me going outside the yard to bring something else in that maybe I feel like I want in the program. But more than likely, believe it or not, we've almost come full circle. We expect Raina to be going into heat right around the first week of February, right? So right around the first week of February, we talking in another 30 days, we should have her going into heat. What I may do, what I may do is as soon as she goes into heat, I may throw her out on the yard and see if she don't trigger the other two girls to go into heat as well. At the very least, I expect by April, the way this is looking the way it's shaping up, it is quite possible that we will have a bitch going into heat in February, a bitch going into heat in April, and then a bitch going into heat right around May or June. So it's gonna be bang bang bang, right? Back to back to back. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Asiatic Soldier got this fire, got the crown and the flame in the chat. Yeah, man. If y'all want to see that debate, put that crown and flame in the chat, man. Put that crown and flame in the chat, man. And then we're gonna reach out to the brother, man, and see if we can't all make that happen, man. You know what I mean? Let's give the people what they want, man. Asiatic Soldier said, I think it should be on the history of the Camelot bloodline. That'd be perfect. That'd be perfect because that's a very serious point of contention with a lot of people, right? Master of all Bulldogs claims that these dogs are bred from the French Mastiff, right? The Dogue de Bordeaux. So if you guys have ever seen the Turner and Hooch movie, uh, the dog in that Turner and Hooch movie with Tom Hanks, that dog is a Dogue de Bordeaux, otherwise known as the French Mastiff. Now, although it has a history going back to other mastiffs, the Dogue de Bordeaux, from what I understood, was predominantly bred for the red coat and the red nose. So all those French mastiffs, you will see all the Dogue de Bordeaux, they come with the red coat and the red nose. However, I don't really see them in the Camelot bloodline. I've never seen any dog that had that heavy mastiff wrinkle that the Dogue de Bordeaux carries, like the Hooch dog, the Turn in Hooch in the movie Turn in the Hooch. I've never seen that anywhere on any Camelot dog. So, but um, the red coat and red nose and the size does not automatically mean that the Camelot dog was bred from the French Mastiff, just because the French Mastiff has these similar traits in terms of coat color, nose color, and size. You know what I mean? There's a lot more that you want to kind of implement into that, or a lot more that you want to take into consideration as factors before you start saying automatically that, this is where the Camelot dog came from. It came from the French Mastiff. Asiatic says Sizzler Buju Capleton, my favorite. Yeah, bro. I definitely, I rock with that culture, man. I rock with that culture, man. You gotta have culture, man. Got to have culture. Uh-oh. My brother Albus Ignis Kennels. Hey, for y'all that don't know, Albus Ignis literally means white fire in Latin. And if you want to see some of the most gorgeous red coat, red nosed dogs, and at some point, we're gonna get it together, man. Me and the brother, AIK, we're gonna get together, man, and we're gonna have him present his dogs up here, man, and just talk a little bit about how his dogs are bred, what his idea was in his program, and all of that. So y'all keep on the lookout for that. If y'all are not familiar with the brother Albus Ignis Kennels, you definitely want to go check out that YouTube channel. The brother's got a lot of shorts on his animals, man. If you want to see, man, somebody going ahead working them hounds like they supposed to be worked, let's get it. Let's get it, man. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about. It's a thing we got to get it done, y'all. All right. Dapper Trappers Law said, ain't no damn way there is some French Mastiff and cam dogs, even the Chevy stuff. This is what the brother says, man. You know, this is what the brother says. In addition to that, man, um, what people don't realize is that when you start talking about families of dogs, right? For example, right? Scientists just discovered that the Native American, right, the indigenous people of the Americas, actually have DNA that they trace back to the indigenous people of Australia, right? And those people, those so-called Aboriginal and indigenous people of Australia, their DNA is like 50,000 years older or something than what they assumed that the Native American had, right? So they assumed that the Native American was pretty much a Johnny come lately on in the stage of world history. Come to find out, they directly connected to the indigenous people of Australia. So my point is that in dogs is very much the same way, right? If the blood is there, it's there. If it's in the DNA, it's in the DNA, right? You can't remove DNA from a dog, right? if it came from a certain line of dogs, if it has the DNA of certain dogs in it, then that DNA is going to be part and parcel of who that dog is. Depending upon how it's bred, and how it's worked, how that dog is developed, is what you're going to see come out of the dog. But if the DNA is in there, it's in there. Your job as a handler, as a dog man, as a pet person, whatever you want to call yourself, right? Your job is to go into that DNA, man, and bring all that out. Your job is to go into that DNA, man, and bring out the very, very best that's in there. If you can go into that dog and recognize it's what's, what its core is, and work to bring that out of the dog, then now you're working. Now you're working with a purpose, right? Now you have some type of a goal in mind. You have a vision. You have a place to start and a place at which you can arrive. You know what you're after. A lot of times, man, you know, especially with these cam dogs, you have to look at that OFRN root, right? And then when you start talking about the cross into the staff, you got to look at those dogs and where they came from and how they were bred. And when you really, really look at it and you trace it all the way back, what you end up having is some of the oldest genetics in the game. Proven. Because that's the thing about the American Staffordshire Terrier. The ADBA will admit in its breed reclassification document, they stated clearly the American Staffordshire Terrier recognized that this dog has never been crossed out to any other breed, and that it was originally called the American Pit Bull Terrier. The name was just changed for purposes of the show breed. for purposes of public opinion, right? So public image, all that kind of stuff, public relations, if you want to call it that. So what your American Staffordshire dog is carrying is old Tudor's blackjack blood, right? Old Corvino blood. That's what your American Staffordshire dogs are carrying. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay this out. um, when I targeted the ghost dog, right, the ghost face dog, when I targeted that dog, it was because he's predominantly OFRN with a Kizenball out. Kizenball, Butch Kizenball, was a breeder who bred pretty much exclusively Klaus blood dogs from from the Bert Klaus camp, and Bert Klaus ran, guess what, Corvino Tudor blood, right? So understand that even the cam dogs with the OFRN to the Amstaff and the Ghostface dog, which is OFRN, and Klaus, which is basically right back to the same stuff that gave birth to the staff dogs, bro. It's all full circle. And this is what, it really blows my mind sometimes that, people who call themselves students of this game, man, and heavily into these dogs, you miss that whole connection. It's like you have traveled so far west, you forgot that if you go west far enough, you will arrive back in the east from which you started. But I'm getting too deep for some of y'all, so I'm gonna press rewind on this. Let's get into some of these comments, man. Let's get into some of these comments. Brandon Blue in the building. What's good with you? Happy New Year, fam. Good to see you with us, man. Brandon Blue said, what's good, chat? I went coyote hunting 2 weeks ago. Most fun I had in a while. The Dogos killed 12 coyotes altogether. Woo-hoo-hoo. Love that. Love that, bro. I love that, man. That's what's up, man. Listen, at some time, bro, if you want to send some footage, man, and we let you hop on a live here, bro. And show us some of that work, man. Show us some of that work, man. We love that kind of stuff, man. Colin Gray said, what state you feel produced the best blood? Ooh. So, that's a loaded question. There's no way in hell I can answer that question, Colin Gray. Let me be honest, right? I'm not familiar with the blood from every state. Let me say that. What state produces the kind of dogs that consistently get my attention? I'm gonna say, for some reason, the Carolinas. I like dogs. Like, most of my dogs are from the deep south, right? Or they came from areas in the south. The two Fat Girl and Tata, they came from Texas. Ghostface, he came from Arkansas. Raina, she came from Georgia. And I believe Bull was originally bred, I want to say, California. But my point is that most of those climates are typically warmer climates, right? And if I had to argue, I would say the cam dogs handle the weather up here better than the box style dogs, right? However, they are bigger bone. They have they just have more mass. So that's to be expected. Um, in terms of the box style dog that has that same size and rugged ability, I tend to see more dogs like that in the Carolinas, right? And then there's certain lines through certain outfits, like Bulldog Hill, Tom Garner, his stuff. I like the Cottingham stuff out of his stuff. You know what I mean? I like the Spike stuff. Good, rugged dogs with good, healthy bone on them. You understand? Um, so in terms of what state I feel produced the best blood, I couldn't begin to tell you that. I can say, man, that I constantly find myself, with an eye on the Carolinas. Even the old mountain man kennels. That's the Hughes stuff. The Homer dog and some of that stuff. Like good rugged stuff. I like the Turtle Buster stuff. Good thick bone dogs, good rugged dogs, man. Like they can stand a good rough tumble. Um and that's what I look for in a dog. So, you know, the best blood, probably not, but definitely high on the list for me is the Carolinas. Asiatic Soldier said, "Do you prefer the UKC or the ADBA?" Okay, now in terms of registries, right? Um, I have a lot of respect for both. I have a deep respect for both. Um, I have probably the most affection. I know that sounds like a strange word, but I have the most affection for the UKC because the UKC struggled with the pit bull, right? The UKC struggled to get the pit bull recognized. The UKC pit bull is eventually what became the AKC, American Staffordshire Terrier. And they fought tooth and nail to get these dogs recognized, as an official breed that could be registered and the stud books opened, you know, like that is so important for a breed. Um, it's a double-edged sword because obviously once you start taking dogs to the show ring, now you're breeding as much for appearance or in many cases people are breeding more so for appearance than for performance. So it is a double-edged sword in that sense. But I have the greatest affection for the UKC because of their fight to get this dog recognized. Now, the ADBA, they have always kept it funky from day one. You understand? They've been about this APBT from day one. It's always been about that. The UKC, as a registry, almost was compelled to open up its books to other breeds, right? Just in order to further validate the standing of the American Pit Bull Terrier as a breed, right? So as a registry, they opened up their books to several breeds as opposed to just the American Pit Bull Terrier, where the ADBA has always been exclusively about the American Pit Bull Terrier. So when they came with their breed reclassification document regarding the working pit bull dog, the American bully, and I hate to say it, I'm just one of those people that feel like the American bully should not yet be recognized as a breed because there is no standard for breeding it, right? You have all of these different hybrids or other breeds that are incorporated into the line at based on the owner's whim, right? The breeder's whim. So if the breeder suddenly decides he wants to put Frenchies, together with his pit bull and call that an exotic bully, nobody can tell him different right now. You know what I mean? Like he's got an exotic American bully. Like nobody can tell him he doesn't. So For that reasons, the ADBA is starting to lose a little steam with me as a registry. They're starting to just allow stuff that really, it shouldn't fly. It shouldn't fly. The American Bully should have never been made a distinct breed until, in fact, the breeds forming that breed had been firmly established. And then going forward, like if you look at the fight that the UKC had to get the American Pit Bull Terrier recognized, the American Bully didn't go through nothing nowhere similar. And I believe that that breed should have definitely, or that idea, that concept of the American Bully should have definitely gone through that proving ground with the registries before it was accepted as a breed. Albert Signet said, Brandon Blue, my hounds love the coyote hunts, raccoon and small game as well. Yes, indeed, man. Yes, indeed. Recently I sat in on a live chat that or a live stream that Thompson Kennels was doing. And I forget exactly what the subject was, but I think it was like his first live stream. He doesn't normally do the live streams, but he did a live stream. And one of the things that I've been looking at, with the whole coyote hunting thing is that it's an excellent way to keep some fire in the dogs, right? To keep the dogs working. As far as a proving ground, right? Testing the gameness in the dog. It has the glaring flaw, if you will, in that when dogs, historically speaking, when dogs were matched against each other, they were two offensive animals going after each other. In the field, when hunting coyote, unless it's somewhat like a mating season, you're not going to find any real aggression in a coyote, right? The coyote's not bent on killing your dog on sight, unless, of course, that coyote's hungry and, it's looking at your dog as a meal. Then that may be a good game test of your dog if a couple of coyotes get on your dog. But the fact of the matter is that when an animal is in flight, right, and your dog is going after that animal is not exactly giving you the resistance, right, that you want to see when you're game testing your animal. So while it's great to hunt them as a way of game testing the American Pit Bull Terrier, the hunting coyote thing does have its flaws. And it was Thompson who kind of pointed out that, that fight or flight thing doesn't necessarily make the best game test. So I just wanted to share that with y'all. As y'all know, I am indeed a keeper of the flame, lifelong student of the game. I'm constantly, looking at what it takes to keep these dogs as the primo breed, right? The primo breed of dog out there. And then at the same time, man, to learn and educate myself more about what's required to bring the best out of these dogs. All right, let's get into some more of these. Dapper Trapper's Law said, yep, and the Klaus Tudor stuff goes back to the Colby stuff, and Colby was a part of 5 folks that put together the staff dogs. Thank you, Dapper Trapper's Law. You see, this is the type of education, this is the type of insight, this is the type of research that's needed in the game, right? Because you will have people, man, that was raised looking at one type of dog. All they ever seen was the dogs that their grandpa raised in the backyard or that their neighbors had up the street. And that is their definition of the American Pit Bull Terrier. And they have no idea about the full history of these dogs going back to, when it was overseas. And I want to share a bomb movie with y'all. Let me put this one in the chat. You know what I mean? And this is especially, man, there's a movie called Dog Jack. Let me put that in the chat right here, man. Dog Jack. Now, that movie Dog Jack, it takes place at the dawn of the Civil War, right? And there are a lot of different elements at play in that. But suffice it to say that in the movie, the dog Jack is definitely an American Pit Bull Terrier. And I don't want to get too much about too much into the details of the movie because that's gonna kind of spoil it. But definitely go check out that movie. It's right here on YouTube, as a matter of fact. So when y'all get a chance, check that out right there. Dog Jack. Great movie, man. Particularly, if you are interested in that whole history of the Civil War, the issues that were surrounding the Civil War, the American, the slave trade in America, everything from life on the plantation to now they got to set them free. You understand? Like, and in the midst of all of that, you got a pit bull running through the whole shit. So it's a hell of a movie, man. Y'all go check that out. I found myself thoroughly educated, if nothing else, right? All right, let's get into some more of this. Where was we? You said Dapper Trappers Law said that Klaus Tudor stuff goes back to the Kobe stuff, and Kobe was a part of 5 folks that put together the staff dogs. Asiatic Soldier chipped in and said Zebo, Lonzo, Mountain Man. Agreed, the Carolinas. Okay, yeah, as far as where you can, if you want looking for some good blood, it is hard to miss going to the Carolinas. Hard to miss. You get it from the right person, you in there. You know what I mean? Asiatic Soldier asked, are you big on paperwork? I know some say paperwork don't make the dog, but I personally like to have some good documents. Feels like you're getting a nice package. Asiatic, quite honestly, man, it is hard to appreciate the dog in front of you if you don't know how that dog's been bred. It is hard to really appreciate the characteristics, the traits, good and bad, in a dog unless you're familiar with how that dog was bred. So now, I don't care if the paperwork is handwritten. I don't care if the records are hand kept. But I believe paperwork should be a part of maintaining the dogs. Right? If you're breeding with purpose, that is to say, you intend to hunt your dogs, you intend to work your dogs. The paperwork is how you're going to keep track of what's working and what's not working. Right? Different registries produced different types of dogs. Like let's take the old family red nose, for example, right? You had the OFBA registry. Then you had other breeders who were so deep in the game that they were producing basically their own type of OFRN, right? And that in itself will give you two different types or three or four different types of OFRN dogs to look at, right? So it helps to know, based on what you're looking for in your program, where these dogs came from. And that's when the paperwork becomes important, right? That's when the pedigree becomes important. I need to know, man, did this do all the dogs in this line have the kind of bone that I'm looking for? Or was this just a one-off? Was this dog an exception, right? The attitude on the dogs, right? Are they shy, skittish dogs? Are they bold and confident dogs, right? Being familiar with the pedigree and the dogs in the pedigree, to me, is almost, it's very important. It's extremely important. You should at least have a good idea of the general traits and characteristics that run in that bloodline, right? So the paperwork for me, like if I'm gonna sell a pup, and again, it depends. If I've got a farmer up here in the area and he's looking for, a catch dog to help with pest control issues like coyote, raccoons, etc. But he's not really looking to spend a whole lot of money, then he can get a dog with no paperwork. He can get a pup, and or in his case, he probably needs a dog at least 8 to 10 months old, you know, and I would give him that dog with no paperwork, right? I don't think he plans on breeding a dog. He ain't got no real, he's not a dog breeder. He's not getting into the breeding game. He just needs an animal to help on his farm. Okay, great. Paperwork is not important there. Paperwork is not important there. Now, let's say this dude is a professional coyote catcher, right? This is a guy, if I give him a dog, I want that dog registered, right? Because this dog is out there doing exclusive coyote catching work. It's kind of what we're geared towards here, what we're gearing up towards here. And so that record is important. This dog was a good dog in the field, right? So we want that. We want him in that pedigree. We want to make sure that that dog is registered and his offspring are registered, because we may use that in the program again. So these are the considerations for paperwork. I know a lot of people talk about, and not for nothing, I've done both. I've had a litter where the dogs didn't have no paperwork. And I will tell you this, typically, the market for a cam dog can get somewhere around 3,500 easy. You know what I mean? If you're looking at these cam dogs that were used in the movies, what was that damn movie? With Brad Pitt, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, right? Those dogs, or coming from that breeder, those dogs can get as high as $10,000. Literally. You go to that breeder's website, man, check out his stuff, man. $10,000 a pup or something, man, he's advertising. So depending upon what the purpose of that dog is, for me, is whether or not paperwork makes a difference. If I'm receiving a dog, I want the paperwork because I want to be able to study the pedigree. I want to be able to get as much information I can about the dogs in that pedigree, so I can kind of gauge what I'm up against and get a general idea of what this dog is going to throw when I use him in my breeding program. Right? And that's not to say that because the dog is used in the breeding program that every pup that dog throws is going to become part of the working program. There's a culling process involved, right? Some of those dogs ain't going to make the cut. That's okay too. You know what I mean? Colin Gray said, I don't have papers, and I feel papers are mainly to show inheritance, but there are great dogs without paperwork. Absolutely. 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 One of the problems though is that, let's say you go to your man, right? And he got a great dog on his yard. Say the dog is 10, 12 months old, maybe even 14 months old. And for whatever reason, he can't keep the dog anymore. He's got to let the dog go. He hasn't registered the dog yet. And he says, listen, man, you can have the dog. I just don't have no paperwork on it. So you take the dog and say, oh, hell yeah, he's a great dog. I love his attitude. I love how he get down. That's great. You take the dog on, and after having the dog about a year, that dog really, really like makes you proud, right? That dog really makes you really, really like look at him like, wow, it's a hell of a dog. And it occurs to you that, well, hell, I should breed him. I want something off of him. In order to get the same dog that you have, how do you know how to breed him? Who are you going to take the dog to? How do you select a female for him? Right? So now you have to kind of go off of qualities, characteristics, and traits in the female because you don't have a pedigree on the male to know where his traits and characteristics came from. So you have to kind of look for that in another female, hope that that's what you're going to get when you bring them two together, as opposed to bringing that male back to his own line, a niece, an aunt in his own bloodline, where you have a greater certainty of getting those traits and characteristics in the litter. So the paperwork is for me, again, it tells me a lot about how I want to breed this dog. Even the dogs you see on the yard, with the exception of Kitana, were pretty much chosen specifically because of their DNA. Because they have the traits and characteristics in their pedigree that I can expect to see in litters coming from those dogs. So yeah, the paperwork is definitely key. But if you're not planning to be a breeder, if you're not planning to breed your dog, if you're just working the dog and you just want a companion, then paperwork means nothing. Paperwork means absolutely nothing. All right, Asiatic Soldier asks, do you prefer crop or uncrop on the ears? Specifically for the upcoming coyote hunting. Honestly, it doesn't really make much of a difference to me. Ear cropping is an aesthetic thing, right? It's it doesn't necessarily have any particular health benefit to the dog. Um, I almost prefer the dog to have its ears simply because the body's development has a natural way of doing the things it needs done. So the flap, when dog's ears flap over, that's part of, protecting the inside of the dog's ears, right? Like, now if you got them bat-eared dogs or whatever the case may be, obviously a different story. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really make much of a difference. Um, the coyote as a predator is not a face-to-face animal. even when a coyote is preying on other animals, unless it's something really small that it can kind of just snatch by the back of the neck and carry off. If that prey is as large as a coyote or larger, the coyote will approach the prey from the rear. So as far as ears go, not going to really make a major difference in terms of coyote hunting. So I don't think it's absolutely necessary to crop at all. And we are looking at doing that coyote work. Um, just bear in mind, everything on my yard right now is brood stock. I want to get some pups on the ground before I start putting these adults in situations where we may lose them. You know what I mean? That's my thing on that. Um, they are they're very good dogs, and I trust them to be able to handle the workload. I trust them to be able to handle the workload and all of that. But again, at this point, you got thousands and thousands of dollars tied up into your program. Be smart about it. Be smart about it. It's one thing to really get excited. I love my dogs. I love hanging out with my dogs. I love seeing them do their thing. There's just nothing more intriguing to me than just watch my dog work. But I'm gonna need to have them around for a while, right? And in order to keep them around for a while, we want to protect that investment. There's a lot of money tied up in these dogs right now. Albus Ignis Kennel said, cropped or not, the dog still works. If your concern is their ears being ripped, never seen it happen with coyotes. Hogs, yes. Chest protector is typically what most working dogs use. Yeah, well, that he kind of took the words right out of my mouth there. Yeah, coyotes is not really face animals, so you don't really have to worry about the ears on the dog so much. I mean, if you decide to crop, that's purely an aesthetic choice. You know what I mean? That's purely an aesthetic choice. That's something that you do because you like that appearance on the dog. Uh, there are some dogs, who kind of have those big, floppy hound-like ears. Like if you've ever seen the Hollingsworth's bulldog, he doesn't have ears that you would see on like Kobe's dime or Kobe's patty, or you know what I mean. Well, I think one of them had their ears cropped, but like typically he doesn't have those little ears, right? Hollingsworth's bull has those big floppy ears. He almost looks like a bloodhound, and in that case, I might I might go ahead and crop. But other than that, it's really for appearance's sake. Our Cygnus Kennels also said trial by fire, the old way, typically looking at the dog traits in front of you, but wouldn't know what's coming from behind. Right. That. So really, that's what no paperwork puts you in that position. Right. When you don't have no paperwork on the dog, you guessing blind. You hoping if you put the dog with this dog, with some unknown female or some female that you got from somewhere, you're hoping that it's going to click, right? You're hoping that you're going to be able to lock in those traits and characteristics. But when you're in this thing called breeding, when you're really trying to lock in certain traits and characteristics, you want to line breed. Some people kind of shy away from inbreeding, but father to daughter, those are excellent ways to lock in traits. Father to daughter, uncle to niece, half brother to half sister. You know what I mean? And even that's considered for some people that's considered inbreeding. But yeah, you want to lock in traits So you want that paperwork to show you where to go, right? To show you what dogs would work for you. Dapper Trapper's Law said cropper ears. It's not necessary, it's up to you. I've had coonhounds go to battle with critters. Scars just add character. I know that's right. I know that's right. Absolutely, bro. Cropped ears. Okay, okay. Yeah, absolutely, fam. One of the things about this whole hunting dogs thing, man, is that whether it's a Great Pyrenees, whether it's a Greyhound, whether it's a coon hound, you put these dogs in the field, and most of these working dogs, man, they're gonna track something down for you. Uh, your American Pit Bull Terrier, definitely distinctive in the way that it approaches that prey. Right? It's not gonna get there and bark. It's gonna go ahead and go grab that thing and take a hold of that thing and begin the process of subduing it. So it's a beautiful thing to be able to get that. Like certain areas of Texas, Arizona, y'all really got problems with coyotes out there. You know what I mean? I'm reading about I'm seeing news clips of coyotes popping up in people's backyards and trying to snatch their kids and snatching their pets, and you know, like in those areas, like that's a field day for a pit bull. If you ever want to clean up the image of the American Pit Bull Terrier, um, do some work for your neighbors in those areas, man, who are struggling with those coyotes, and you know, offer to send the dogs in to clean up some of that and clear them out. One of the things I noticed, man, was that you know, where I live, we have the backyard is a parking lot, right? It's basically a parking lot, and we stack our garbage, you know, out back in the parking lot, and then we put it out when it's time for them sanitation to come and get it. Well, one of the things that I found out was the garbage cans were a magnet for all types of skunks and raccoons and squirrels and cats, and they would literally jump up on the garbage cans, knock them over, then go into the bags, start ripping them out, ripping up the bags, and you know, tearing the food out, and you know, just leaving garbage strewn all over the place. It's always a nightmare to try to clean up when it's time to put the garbage out. Um, Ever since I put those dogs in the yard next door, we don't seem to have that problem. And so I say that to say that wild critters, right, when they know that there are, especially, you know, dogs like like pit bulls hanging around, will tend to stay away. They will tend to stay away. They will not come around, you know, acting up. So a lot of people, man, throughout the country could use some of that help. California, Arizona, Texas. I've been seeing it where, you know, these coyotes is popping up in people's backyard, right in their yard, snatching their cats, snatching their dogs, just, you know, all kinds of crap. So in an effort to you know, give our dogs a good name and give our breed, you know, a firm standing in society, don't hesitate to reach out to those people, man, and offer some help. You know what I mean? If you feel like your dog is capable of handling that, man, yeah, definitely reach out to your neighbors, man, that have had those issues, and go looking to solve those problems for folks. And I guarantee you, we will we'll create a different kind of image for the American Pit Bull Terrier. Asiatic Soldier asks, do you think any of the upcoming breedings you have locked in will give any of that personal family protector instinct? or you don't have that pure Camelot breeding lined up yet. Um, so the very next breeding will likely be Raina. We have her slated for late February, and that is likely going to be a pure Camelot breeding. Um, that will definitely give you your personal protection animal. Uh, Raina is exceptional, exceptional. Like when I say of all my dogs, if I had to say one dog that seems to have it all the tools, right? Um, that dog would probably be Raina, right? In terms of the attitude, in terms of the ability, in terms of the instinct, in terms of the willingness, in terms of the responsiveness. Oh, that dog is a dream. That dog is a dream. So when you bring her to more of the same, like Rain is not a dog that I've ever had to say, point to somebody and say, "Go get him, girl." Like, never had to do that with her, ever. She's always been intuitively protective. People coming down the street, coming towards us. Raina's the dog that tries to step in front of you, in between them, and she's gonna sniff them out. She wants to know whether or not they are friendly or whether or not she need to grab a hold of their motherfucking ass. So I say all of that to say that um Raina is going to be the next dog bred. As I mentioned earlier, I'm expecting her estrus to kick in around the first week in February, around the end of the first week in February, beginning of the second week. So by the end of February, we should have her bred. Um, Now, in all fairness, we've attempted to breed her a couple of times in the past that didn't pan out, and in those cases, I did an AI. Um, I don't trust my own AI skills. I don't trust myself to be that proficient with the AI process. So this time around, if I decide to do an AI, it's going to be done professionally through a vet. And then if it's going to be a natural tie, then obviously we ain't worried about no issues there. You know what I mean? But OT Genesis in the building. What's good, bro? Happy New Year. What's up, bro? We just sitting here chopping it up. So, little general bulldog talk. The But to answer your question, Asiatic, yeah, we definitely got some stuff coming up, bro. That you know, don't get me wrong, y'all. I love my box bred dogs. Um, but the only thing about those dogs, man, is that they are they're too people submissive for me. Anybody can walk up to them dogs, man, take them off the chain and walk away with them. And that's just not gonna be the case with a cam dog. You go to approach a motherfucking cam dog and that dog don't know you, it's gonna let you know, who you, why you here, and what you think you doing. It's gonna give you cause to pause before you reach for that dog's collar. And that's just something, the cam dogs seem to show a little more boldness, a little more confidence. Whereas your box spread dogs, they can even be skittish at times. Have a like a bit of a nervous energy there. You understand? Um, and you don't typically get that with your cam dogs. Usually pretty solid dogs, very bold, very they right out front for you. Asiatic Soldier said, yeah, I don't care for that. I don't care for that too. People submissive dogs. Yeah, don't get me wrong. There is something truly touching, right, about these dogs when they approach you, because they're a little, they can be a little shy, and when they warm up to you, they are definitely, they're some of the most affectionate, heartwarming creatures that you could ever want to pet. But at the end of the day, I don't want to see my dog do that for just anybody, right? I'm funny that way. I don't want to see another motherfucker walk up to my dog and my dog immediately adopt that submissive posture and roll over, and for the motherfucker to pet it and all of that. And no, my dog need to know, man, that motherfucker ain't a friend until I tell you he's a friend. Until then, he's a motherfucking, he's to be watched. You know what I mean? That's the way I like my dogs. So that's part of the reason why I chose to do cam crosses as opposed to just going with what's already out there with OFRN. You understand what I'm saying? Again, a lot of these dogs are not only just people submissive, but they can be shy and a little bit skittish. You know what I mean? So it's I like to see confidence in a dog. I really do. I like to see a dog that's not afraid of a shadow. you know. Asiatic Soldier said, I just think the Belgian Malinois and Doberman Pinscher too skinny. I'm like a linebacker build, and I feel would overpower them dogs. See, dogs like the Malinois and the Doberman, um, they give you a lot of drive. They give you a lot of drive for the work. A lot of drive for the work. To me, where the cam dogs trump most other breeds is that the cam dogs, you have managed to breed a dog that is strong and powerful enough to stop a grown man, um, gentle and affectionate enough to pretty much babysit a kid, and then this dog is also animal aggressive enough to where, if let's say there's another dog going after the kid, or Rottweiler or something like that, this dog is strong enough, big enough, aggressive enough, and protective enough to put a stop to that. You know what I mean? Put a stop to that immediately. So the Malinois and the Doberman, although they have the drive, they don't necessarily have the durability when it comes to dealing with another dog, right? If another dog is homing in on the kid, or you want your dog to be able to step in the middle of that and put a stop to that, right? Even if it's another pit, right? Being aggressive. And with Doberman and the Malinois, obviously they don't have the tolerance for pain that the pit bull has. Even the Rottweiler doesn't have the tolerance for pain that the pit bull has. They're not that rugged, sturdy kind of dog when it comes to them getting bit. And that is the major difference in the American Pit Bull Terrier versus most other dogs. The pain tolerance of the American Pit Bull Terrier is almost at a level where they don't know they've been bit until it's all over. Bull used to kill me. Every time he get himself into some shit, he get to shaking up some shit, man. And he don't care how much he getting bit. until I'm laying him down, cleaning him up. Then he's the biggest baby in the world, right? But you know, that's really the big difference, man, with these dogs, man. Again, I don't know what hybrids like the American Bulldog or the Johnson Bulldog, whether or not they have that same level of durability, that ruggedness where, you know, they can stand a good bite. But that's what I love about the cam dogs, man, because they have that same pain tolerance. They have all the tools. They have all the tools. Asiatic said bulldogs to me is the only dogs that will put up a bang. I mean, it really is a thing, man. It really is a thing. Say, yeah, and that's what Dr. Carl Semensic was talking about in his books. That's why I never got why people say American Pit Bull Terrier don't make good protection dogs. But I've always different from young. Maybe they mean. Maybe they mean box bred dogs, but there are countless stories of APBT protecting their owners and families. Yeah, absolutely, bro. Um, let me define something, right? Let me get specific. When I talk about a box bred dog, bro, you have lines that have been bred generation upon generation upon generation strictly for the box, right? Many of these dogs, most of these dogs have never seen the inside of a house. The only interaction they've ever had with a human being is while they were on the chain, while they were in a keep, or while they were in the box. And they are bred that way and raised that way purposely, right? And when you go to handle those dogs, your first reaction might be the dog's first reaction might be to run from you, right? And then the next thing you know, the dog is rolling over, giving you his belly, right? Um, you take that same dog, take him off the chain, bring him in the house, right? Put him around babies, put him around pregnant mothers, put him around small children, just a family setting, period, where he begins to identify himself as part of that pack. When he learns his place in that pack, you will see him act like a pack protector. You will see him become a guardian of that pack. But you have to understand that it is not his initial training or his initial conditioning, right? It's not his initial disposition to be aggressive towards human beings. So that dog has to really, really be attached to the family. That dog has to really, really be attached to the family. There's plenty of instances where you see that, but understand that dog had constant human interaction. Like that dog was literally part of the family. It wasn't a dog that was kept on a chain, that was only used when it was time to work the dog, and roll the dog. You understand? Those dogs that come from those lines, them dogs that have just been kept on a chain for generations, for generations, for generations, they really don't know, what a human family is. They don't know what it is to play with a baby. You understand what I'm saying? Definitely different mentality on the dog. And this is why if you go back to some of my old joints, You know what I mean? Going back a ways where, I think I did a couple of rants regarding the Camelot dog. One of the biggest myths about the American Pit Bull Terrier is that it's just a fighting dog. Those dogs are extremely, extremely utilitarian. The American Pit Bull Terrier is probably the most versatile dog breed, that I'm aware of. Like, this dog can do it all. So I think one of the big issues that we have where we run into a problem is that we constantly harp on the fact that these dogs were bred for fighting. These dogs were bred for fighting. These dogs were bred for fighting. When initially they were bred for doing catch work. And then a couple of drunk motherfuckers sat around and said, man, my dog is better than your dog. And we know what happened after that, right? So if you put the dog in the right situation, not to say that you can breed or somehow train animal aggression out of the dog, but Bull is a perfect example. When he first came in, he was hot on everything, right? Except females. He had to get to know the female. Once he got to know the female, he was cool with it. But a dog, anything on four legs, he was after it. Only now, as he's moving towards being 7.5, 8 years old, right? Only in the last, I'd say, 1.5, 2 years, have we been able to educate, or we see him now getting the concept of that's a threat, that's not. You need to be aggressive with that. You don't need to be aggressive there, right? And that's literally 5 years working with this dog. And we just getting to that point where, if he take off after a skunk, I can stop him in his tracks and call him back, right? But we had to go through that with him getting the skunk first, not listening, we had to go through all of that, right? We had to go through his drive, taking him into situations that I had to then go and get, kind of bail him out of and bail us out of. So that's the dogs can be taught. You put them in the right situation. If you gear, you direct their education in a certain fashion, you are going to get that dog. But for the most part, because of the box game and because of the way things are done in that culture, a lot of the dogs are not, they're not pack ready. They're not pack ready. You have to literally, you have to bring that, you have to kind of reintroduce them into that pack life and bring them up around the pack and show them their place in the pack and let them know that, this is the family. And then you can have good expectation for that American Pit Bull Terrier protecting the pack. But if you get somebody just running in, storming in and doing some stuff, don't be surprised if the dog runs and cowls at first. Because it's taught to be submissive. It's conditioned. It's been genetically predisposed to be submissive to anything on two legs. So if a person really shows a lot of aggression towards your American Pit Bull Terrier, and you don't just have that dog that just, has that fight back attitude, then you're going to see that dog may not protect the pack. And the real question is, do you want to find out in that moment? Or do you want to know ahead of time that you have a dog that's going to handle this business should the need arise? Dapper Trapper's Loft said, I don't consider a Malinois a family dog unless you're a hell of a trainer. Them dogs are crazy as fuck. Again, very high drive animal. What you get from a Malinois is going to be all drive, all drive. You know what I mean? I've always fancied them as the pit bull of the shepherd world. You know what I mean? That's how I see the Malinois, man. Asiatic said, "Word, Ray. Thank you for your knowledge and calculated responses. Much appreciated, good brother. This is another one for the archives. Indeed it is. Indeed it is." You have to cultivate the flame in them. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I think one of the biggest things that a lot of cats missed, you know, in breeding for the box. A lot of dudes just skip the intelligence factor. Like they wanted a dog that was just so batshit crazy. They wasn't interested in a dog that was really intelligent. A dog that was a real problem solver, right? And if you can teach your dog to solve problems, to work out issues, you understand what I'm saying? You are creating an extremely intelligent animal, and that's going to produce fruits regardless to what work you put that dog in. But it's 9 o'clock, y'all. I'm not gonna drag this out. We started at 7. It's been 2 hours. I'm not gonna hold y'all hostage. It's been a lovely New Year's. I appreciate everybody that stopped through. Asiatic Soldier, it's a blessing, bro. Definitely go ahead, reach out to Master of all Bulldogs. Tell them we could keep it respectful. We ain't gotta curse. We ain't gotta get disrespectful, calling people out of their names and none of that. We just gonna lay the facts on the table. Bring your facts, I'll bring mine, and we can do that on any platform, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, whether it's on his channel or my channel, or whether it's on a neutral channel. Maybe we do it on your channel, Asiatic. How that sound to you? Y'all let us know. And y'all stay tuned. As y'all see, man, I'm constantly working. You understand what I'm saying? I do shoot videos pretty much on the regular, but I don't always present those videos because what y'all need to see me cleaning up dog shit for. But if y'all like to see that kind of shit, hey, hit me up, let me know, and I'll make sure I post those videos for y'all as well. Brandon Blue, Colin Gray, Asiatic Soldier, Albus Ignis Kennels, Ira, Bill Norris, Dapper Trapper, Bank Statement, and everybody else that took a minute to stop on through. Appreciate the love, man. Y'all stay blessed, man. As usual, it's the student of the game, lifelong keeper of the flame, Ray Imperial, signing off. Y'all keep the heat. Oh, wait a minute, hold up. Asiatic said, yes, sir. His next live, I'm going to ask him. Thank you, good brother. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings, fam. Y'all keep the heat.